Hey everyone, welcome back to the first Inside Indiana Overtime of the year. Jordan Gusky, Alex McCarthy here at Memorial Stadium, where we saw an unexpectedly close and exciting game here at Memorial Stadium. Really ugly for Indiana in the first half especially. It kind of got started off on a really weird um, note for Indiana. They had a delay of game on the opening kickoff, which I don't know if I've ever really seen before. Add that to the list of firsts that I've seen at IU football games, but IU goes down by 11 at halftime, comes back, scores 17 unanswered in the third quarter, and then got outscored again in the fourth quarter, but thanks to, I guess, a dropped two-point conversion at the end, Indiana was able to avoid what would have been really quite frankly, a pretty embarrassing loss to FCS opponent Southern Illinois. But on the positive side, there was a few new arrivals, a few true freshmen, but one in particular, UAB transfer Jordan Howard, who had a huge game tonight.
Right. Yeah. If you running for 145 yards on 20 carries, that's a 7.2 yard average. That's nearly a first down every play. That's someone you can rely on. There were times where he would get hit maybe at the line of scrimmage and carry the guys for 5 yards. On his 23-yard touchdown run, he carried two or three guys into the end zone with him after going nearly untouched for most of the time. And pairing him with Devin Redding, Howard's power and Redding's speed is it's a powerful combination that teams are gonna have to watch out for.
Yeah, and it was kind of interesting. Howard had a really big opening, and it was kind of an opening that Tevin Coleman would have shot for like a 60-yard run, but he doesn't exactly have that next gear. He doesn't have that breakaway speed, but he has the power that I haven't seen out of an IU running back really under Kevin Wilson at all. And like you said, he was just routinely carrying Salukis around with him as he was running around. But Nate Sudfeld also looked good on the. I mean, Indiana's offense looked really good. I mean, it scored 48 points, especially in the second half.
Yeah, third quarter.
And especially in the third quarter. I mean, they scored in 2 plays to open the half, field goal in the next possession, and then scored again. Scored another touchdown. 5 touchdowns on the ground between Redding and Howard, and then another one through the air, the 57-yard touchdown pass to Ricky Jones, who kind of emerged as definitely IU's deep threat, and probably IU's #1 receiver. He had 6 catches for 186 yards. My goodness. And 2 of those were, one was for 71 yards that set up the eventual game-winning score, and one was for 57 yards, which actually was his touchdown. But Mitchell Page had a career high, 4 catches, 32 yards, which was what IU needed. There were only a couple dropped passes, which was a huge improvement from what we saw last year out of IU's wide receivers. But the big issue, obviously, was Indiana's defense that just didn't look like it could stop Southern Illinois at all in the first half. And then once you thought maybe they had it figured out, then on that last possession for Southern Illinois, they got the ball with 58 seconds to go and went down and scored a touchdown pretty easily. I guess, Jordan, what did you see out of this defense, and do you think this is a concern, a long-term concern?
I think it's definitely a major concern because even though you didn't have Scales today, but you still had Oliver, who's a great linebacker, even as a backup. The problem on the defensive line, they didn't get any pressure on Ayanoti today. That allowed him to stay back in the pocket, find receivers, and also when there was good coverage, he had time to run the ball. And we saw he had a career high rushing in the first half.
Yeah.
So he was unstoppable. And I said at halftime, the only way that IU wins is if they can stop Ayanoti from basically tearing the defense apart. And it seemed in the third quarter they were able to do that, scoring 17 unanswered points.
Yeah, a couple 3 and outs.
Yeah.
Forced a couple fumbles. You mentioned Marcus Oliver, who I thought took kind of a while to get up into the speed of the game. He hasn't played in close to a year, but then ripped a couple fumbles loose, and IU was able to jump on him. So the turnover margin was pretty good for Indiana. They had a blocked punt that went for a touchdown, which really was pretty ugly, but not the smoothest of games. As you mentioned, Tigre Scales was gone with a suspension. Darius Latham, Ralph Green III, a few other kind of role players, but those were the main guys. Chase Dutra was out with an apparent injury. Looks like it might have been a knee, something like that. But
Wilson wouldn't elaborate.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound like it's super serious, but you never know. So we'll see what happens next week. Indiana gets Florida International here again. It's a night game, so maybe the heat won't get to Indiana as much. I don't know how much of a factor that was, but it was certainly a factor for us. It was
It was hot.
90
Yeah.
degrees plus, and we were sweating and terrible. So we're gonna get out of here, probably go home and take a shower.
Oh, yeah.
But thanks for watching. For Jordan Gusky, I'm Alice McCarthy. We'll talk to you soon.
See you.